Good afternoon and welcome to our latest edition of Lunch with Haley. Today we'll be talking about programmatic advertising and how it can help deliver candidates for your staffing agency at a lower cost than you're seeing today. My name is Matt Lozar and I am a social media marketing advisor here at the Haley Marketing Group. Some housekeeping issues before we get started here. If you have some questions, we'd love for you to engage with us in the chat window. Send over your questions and we'll address them later in the webinar. If you're on social media, share some of your thoughts, your reactions, engage with us. Use the hashtag #LunchWithHaley and tag us at Haley Marketing. Let's get started. Today's agenda, we're going to talk about a number of different topics in recruitment and programmatic advertising, looking at some old school tactics and new school tactics. What is programmatic? Why use programmatic? Let's understand the basics, look at programmatic in action, and finally, how can your team, your staffing agency, your recruiters implement programmatic to start delivering the candidates? Before we jump in even further, I want to take a look at this quote. When I was doing research for this webinar and this presentation, I think it was a great quote about how recruitment has changed, recruitment's evolved, technology has evolved. And we're not able to recruit the same way here in September 2018 that we could, 20, 30 years ago. We can barely do the same things, use the same tactics we could 5 years ago in 2013. So our goal today is to talk about programmatic technology and show what it does, explain some of the basics, because I know programmatic is a big word and can be a little scary to even hear sometimes. And I wanted to help educate and understand the tactics on how it can, find candidates more efficiently, reach more candidates for your team at a lower cost. Before we jump into programmatic, last month we did a product demo on recruitment marketing, and we have 4 pillars we've established here at the Haley Marketing Group. We're talking about a career site, social recruiting, employment branding, and job ads and distribution, and how all 4 of these work together. And as we talk today about job ads and distribution, in that upper right quadrant, let's put ourselves in the example, the shoes of a job seeker right now. If they come across your job posting, maybe it's on your job board, or maybe it's on Indeed or ZipRecruiter or any website they find your job description. They might apply, they might not apply, but what they're going to do is to check out your website, your career site, to see what your culture is like. What other factors go into working for your staffing agency and recruiters? They're going to look at your social media and look at the different content you're sharing there. Maybe looking for content of your team, at picnics or at events or in the community, those people being people, that type of content. What kind of image are you showing on social media? And then in the bottom right corner, employment branding. What reviews are being left about your company on Glassdoor, on Facebook, on Google? What's your star rating? There's a stat that came from the last year with job postings, and how job postings of companies would have Glassdoor ratings of 3 stars or higher. Those application rates are 2% higher than companies with Glassdoor ratings of less than 3 stars. And that's a pretty significant margin when you're talking about like a 6.5% application rate versus a 4.5% application rate. We have to sell more than that job. And today, yes, we are going to focus on that job, but we want to keep all that in mind as we talk about programmatic and job distribution with recruitment marketing. Old school tactics on how we would recruit. This one still does work with word of mouth and referrals. Referrals can be some of the best traffic you get, candidates you receive as a staffing agency, but it is important, we can't just rely on word of mouth or referrals anymore. We could post a sign in the window or outside our office, on a sandwich board saying that we're hiring for different positions, but only the foot traffic in front of that office is going to see. We could put a classified in the newspaper or a local publication asking, help wanted, but with newspaper readership down and print publication just with less readership and less subscriptions, that's not as important as it is now. As it was previously. Some other older school methods in the 90s, everything changed, right? Monster and Career Builder came out as the internet became obviously more available and people became accustomed to just not only searching for jobs on the internet, but using the internet in their everyday lives. Monster and Career Builder had a great way to get all the jobs in one place. And then Indeed and ZipRecruiter took that to the next level as an aggregator, collecting jobs from numerous sources. And those two are still huge names in the industry, along with Monster and Career Builder. But Indeed and ZipRecruiter are two of the, probably the two biggest sources. But in the last few years, LinkedIn has been around for a while, but Microsoft's purchase of LinkedIn takes it to a whole different level. And then Facebook really started to enter into the talent acquisition, into the recruitment industry in the beginning of 2017 with Facebook Jobs. And they see opportunity in recruitment, in talent acquisition. And we didn't even talk about Google for Jobs and how Google displays job results right at the top of search results right now. And how will that all play into this recruitment? So what does that mean? We need to think smarter. We need to think in a way where advertising the job just isn't enough. We can't just post a job in the newspaper. We can't just post a sign in our window. We can't just share the job on one site. We have to be smarter with our advertising, be smarter with our marketing, and using programmatic advertising to take your job postings out to a bigger network is doing that in a smarter way. We need to make data-driven decisions. If we can tell you that, your job applicants are the best quality of job applicants are coming from ZipRecruiter as opposed to Indeed, we want to put more money on ZipRecruiter. Or maybe your higher quality is on Indeed versus Glassdoor. We want to put more money on Indeed. We have all this data available today. Big data is a hot term, and what can we do to leverage that data? So what is programmatic? One of the first definitions is simply this. It's using software instead of a human to manage job advertising. We're still posting the same jobs. We're still trying to get applications, but we're using software to do that instead of humans. Because just one of the benefits, we're going to talk about a number of them in this presentation. One of the benefits is the software can send your job out to dozens, hundreds, thousands of websites. No person's going to do that as efficiently or as quickly as the software can. And it's going to use its artificial intelligence to get your postings out to more sites, and it's going to do that, more cost efficiently. But just because we have this technology doesn't mean we should jump in and use it. There needs to be a why. Just because there's a tactic there, we need to see what the ROI is. We need to see how it's going to help our team of recruiters. What can we do? Why should we use this and implement it into our business? We're going to jump into some of those reasons here. 4 reasons more on the bigger scale, not in the hard numbers. We'll get into the numbers in a couple of slides, but 4 simple reasons really why to use programmatic. The first one is it expands the reach of your job postings. We might be posting jobs on a handful of sites right now, but maybe there's a niche job board in your healthcare industry that you aren't aware of. Maybe you aren't able to get your jobs posted on local websites, newspaper websites or other websites where people are looking for jobs. Maybe there's a new job website that just popped up last month that's looking for traffic and job seekers are finding, but you're not getting your jobs to. Let's get those job postings to audiences that weren't aware of your openings before. We can eliminate wasted spend. We've seen recruiters and staffing agencies have had jobs get posted that receive, hundreds of applications. Do you really need hundreds of applications for that jobs, or do you need 20 or 30 to find that, the 2-3 quality candidates that you want to bring in for an interview? Let's find ways to eliminate wasted spend and use your recruitment spend more efficiently. One of the tactics in programmatic is to pay per cost per application, and we can eliminate the risk of we only want to pay when we receive applications. And that's what one of the tactics can be, is you set a cost per application goal, and then the programmatic software and the technology looks at all the available, job boards and candidates, looking at those boards to see how can we get that candidate, that cost per application cost at your goal. How can we meet that goal on the average? And this one's one of my favorite ones, is we want to maintain ownership of the applications in your database. When jobs get aggregated on Indeed or ZipRecruiter and somebody applies, that application isn't just for your staffing agency, for your team of recruiters. It could go to anyone that has the Indeed subscription. It could go to a competitor. They could be going in and trying to steal your candidate. Hire your candidate before you're able to. With programmatic, a lot of these job boards drive candidates back to the application on your website, sitting right on your domain. What can you do to get that candidate back to your domain? Because I think if you can get a candidate your competitor isn't able to get, that's an advantage for your team and for your recruiters. Maintain that ownership of applications, not only now, but you can tap back into that database later on. One of the main business reasons for programmatic, reducing the cost per application by 30%. That's a huge number. And it might sound too good to be true, but it's not. Every company we talk to in this industry that use it, that develops the programmatic software, we'll talk about them a little later, but they're a lot of the numbers, 20, 30%, we're going to see a cost per application reduction. That's enormous, right? If we're paying $10 for an application and we can reduce that to $7, that provides us with enormous opportunity, right? We can keep our recruitment spend the same and get applications at $7 instead of $10. That means we're getting more applications. Or maybe we're getting the applications we need. We just want to pay less for them. Then we can pay less on a monthly scale since we're paying $3 less per application. Another opportunity reason here is not a lot of companies in talent acquisition are using it. If we look at the bar graph, the chart here on the left, overall on all internet advertising and digital display advertising next year in 2019, that's going to reach 70% of the inventory next year. In talent acquisition, that's under 30%, right around an estimate of 25%. That means a lot of your competitors aren't doing it. That means companies you're battling with for the talent aren't using programmatic. It's an opportunity for your company to step out of its comfort zone. What can you do to get away from just doing the same routine? Because the job openings are greater than active job seekers right now. A number of months that has happened. The report just came back for July where that's the case. What can we do to step out of that comfort zone, to go into the opportunity? Look at different ways to use programmatic. Implement this into your new daily routine. Test it out. See if it works. And then if the results pan out, make better data-driven decisions with your team, with your recruitment spend moving forward. So now that we laid out a lot of the what and a lot of some of the more theoretical reasons, let's dig into some terminology and understanding the basics on how is that money really saved? How is that 30% cost per application goal reached? One of the definitions is through rules-based bidding, and it's setting rules through a campaign to instruct the programmatic software to adjust the cost per click bidding based on results. So a number of the terms you can see in here: cost per click, cost per apply, and total spend. So let's say you want to bid 10 cents on a job. We can tell the software that we want to, we're posting 20 jobs and we only want to pay for 10 cents for each of the clicks on our jobs. Maybe we want to pay 25 cents if it's a competitive job, or maybe $1 if it's a really competitive job that has a high placement. What can we, that's how we can set the rules there to only pay what fits into our business model. The cost per application, we shift that a little bit to where we're going to pay $10 an application, $20 an application, $50 an application. What's that application worth to our team? How much can we afford to spend to get that quality candidates we can place? We can look at it more on a monthly scale of total spend. If we want to spend $5,000 per month, we want to set rules that say don't overspend our account. Keep our number at $5,000. Don't let us go over that. We're not going to overspend our budget. And with applications, this is a really neat one where I talked about that stop button earlier in this presentation. I know we're placing for a licensed practical nurse job in Omaha, Nebraska. I know we need 20 applications to get the one candidate we need. We're going to set the rule that when our job posting gets sent from our database out to the publishers, to the job boards, we only want to get 20 applications. And when we hit that goal, stop spending on that job. We'll dig into that a little bit later. Managing distribution. Right now, Do you know where your top applicants are coming from? It's a chore. It's a challenge to post jobs on different websites. If we manually have to do it, or if you even have to click a button to post it to Indeed, to ZipRecruiter, to Glassdoor, to Dice, wherever we want it to go, somebody has to manually do that. With programmatic, there's a couple of different ways, right? There's something called a taxonomy, where it's a database of tens of thousands of job descriptions and job titles and locations and salary data that's going to look at your job, compare it to historical data, historical results, and determine where should we display this job? What sites are going to bring the top candidates for this position? And then we can look at the data of your jobs. Let's say we posted some jobs in September. Now we have more jobs to post in November. What did that data tell us in September to make a better decision in November? Did it tell us what our cost per click should be? Did it tell us what our cost per application should be? Are we overpaying? Are we underpaying? Do we need to raise our estimates? What can we do to get that distribution better? Now let's look at it in action. Setting rules. We're posting 2 jobs. We're going to keep our first example pretty simple. We need 20 applications for job A. We need 20 applications for job B, and we're going to bid on a cost per application basis. Let's say we have to pay $10 for job A and $20 for job B. The software is going to reach that goal. It's going to deliver that goal. It's not going to overspend. It's not going to come back with 20 applications at $40. It's going to come back to reach your goal and find ways to deliver your CPA goal. That's what the programmatic software is going to really focus on. So it's going to analyze placements on job boards and other publishers. It's going to know if we posted on this job board, we're going to get this cost per application. If we posted on a different one, we're going to get a higher or a lower cost per application. What can it do to really help meet your goal? And maybe our goal is wrong. Maybe we are overestimating that $20 for job B. Maybe the market value is showing us we only need to pay $15. The software is going to adjust and have us come in under that goal. It won't overspend, but let's think of that job A, right? Job A, we need 20 applications at $10 an application. After a couple weeks or maybe a month, we only have 4 applications. Maybe we're underestimating the cost of an application for that position right now in the market. It's a competitive market. Maybe it gets more competitive, or maybe our data just didn't pan out right now. We need to shift that to increase our cost per application. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But we'll get a true market value sense of what it costs to get applications for that position right now. Eliminating wasted spend. This is one of the best ones. We have 4 jobs that we're posting. Each of them needs 20 applications, so we'll stay consistent from our last example. Job A, after a couple of weeks, we want to post this job for 1 month. After 2 weeks, job A has 40 applications, but we're still spending on that job. We have twice as many applications as we need, but we're still using our budget. We're wasting our budget right now. Job B has 25 applications. We're a little bit over, but let's map that out for the whole month. We're going to get 50 applications. So 30 more applications than we actually need. That's wasted time. That's wasted spend. That's wasted time for our recruiters. Job C is on pace. Let's say it has 10 applications. We're on pace to get 20 applications for the month. So we're okay there, but let's hold the thought on job C. And job E is struggling. Job D only has 3 applications. We're wasting money there. We're not getting the return we want, especially if we're bidding on cost per clicks, right? People are clicking on our job and not applying. We have to make adjustments. So what can we do? Literally, I guess really figuratively, we hit stop. Once we get that goal of 20 applications, stop spending on job A instantaneously, right in real time. Once we got to that 20 applications for job B, stop spending. With job A, we looked at, we had 40 applications in 2 weeks. Once we get to 20, we'll stop. For job B, we had 25 applications. Once we get to 20, we'll stop. But then let's take it to that next step. Let's not just stop. Let's shift that spend, right? We're done with job A. Let's say we were spending, 25 cents a click on job A. Maybe we can shift that over to job C and job D. right? Job C was on pace to get our 20 applications in 1 month. But if we've met our goal for 2 jobs, we can meet our goal faster now for job C. And job D wasn't really performing well. It was underperforming. We can put more money on job D without increasing our overall budget. We're just shifting some of the spend for jobs that worked well. We're putting more money into job D to get us more applications faster. We want to stop the runaway jobs. And this graphic here really illustrates it. So for job A, we wanted to reach the red line. We wanted to get, those five applications, or whatever we have a little person represent here for a number of applications. Once we get to 5, we want to stop. Job B went right over the line. Job C was starting to get there, and job D was having no results. So with that recruitment spend, with that hitting the stop button, we can get to job. Once we hit that red line, we're going to stop spending on job A and job B, and we're going to move our resources over to job C and job D to get more applications there, to get them faster, more efficiently, and more cost effectively. We had a question here coming from Alyssa, where Alyssa talked about, let's say job A and job B, we reached our application goal, and those candidates didn't fill the position. Can we reallocate? The programmatic software won't know automatically, because one of the challenges right now in this industry for all companies, it's not just staffing agencies and recruiters, it's Fortune 500 companies, it's hundreds of millions of dollars of companies. It's companies trying to figure out, how can the programmatic software integrate with your candidate database, with your ATS, to find out more about that quality, to know, hey, let's say Alyssa interviews her applicants, there isn't a quality one there. She needs something different, or maybe the applicants didn't accept an offer because of a variety of reasons. If we have to go in right now and manually tell the programmatic, let's turn on job A, let's get some money back flowing to that job to deliver us more applications and help us find the candidate. If we could, the really cool thing that could happen one day is, if it's integrated with your ATS, once we put in the ATS, this job is back open, maybe it would instantly turn on the programmatic software, but we're not there yet. Other companies are working on that. Improving job quality, right? There's a few different ways that look at this, right? We post our jobs to our job board, and then it gets sent to the programmatic software, to that technology. The software is going to look at your job descriptions, look at job titles, look at locations, look at salary, look at the benefits, everything in that job description. Before we post it, it's going to deliver an estimate of a cost per application or a cost per click. It's going to say, we need to bid 25 cents on this job. We need to bid $20 per application on this job. During the posting, it's going to make adjustments, right? It's going to look at the job boards performing well. It's going to show the job more often there. It's going to look at the job boards not performing well and not show it as often there. And then after posting, we're going to get results and make better decisions. We're going to see that our estimates were right. We're going to see if our estimates were wrong. What can we do to adjust moving forward to become even more efficient? And what am I talking about with this taxonomy of job titles and definitions? It's looking at a job posting. It's looking at the title. It's looking at, like I see, we're hiring here internally for a senior designer developer. It's going to look at Buffalo. It's going to look remote friendly. It's going to look at the salary. It's going to look at the different benefits, the projects it could work on, all the different words and benefits and responsibilities, and compare it to the historical database to determine what it should cost to get that, to have applications come in. Let's look at some examples of case studies. These are from our friends at Appcast. Appcast is a software company we'll talk about in a few minutes that really runs the programmatic software. There's a company in the Midwest, a healthcare company that started to use the programmatic strategy and tactic and saw its reach increase by 50%. Now, one of the benefits I talked about earlier was, what can we do to get our jobs out to more job seekers who weren't aware of our jobs? And the technology, the software, expanded the reach by 50%. And then it took it to that next step and decreased the cost per application. $19 in healthcare is awesome right now. So they're reaching more people and paying less. Software engineers in Chicago. The key indicator here was candidates were 30% more likely to get to that final interview. So they were getting through the application, getting through the phone screening, getting through however many interviews this position needed. They were getting more quality candidates to that final interview, which is great. That means they're getting better quality superstars, a talent to pull from. In the wedding industry, a wedding vendor was getting higher quality applicants by 50%. When people have weddings, they want to have the highest quality service possible, but a lot of those jobs can be temporary jobs or just weekend jobs, people filling in on different shifts. So it's important to have a high quality there. That's where a wedding vendor saw this awesome results. And lastly, it was with managers and sales reps. This company needed 50 candidates really quickly. They needed to hire quickly for these open positions, and their programmatic delivered candidates faster. They were able to get interviews 5 days after applications. Hires were coming in 21 days after they initially applied. So we weren't wasting time trying to get applications. The applications came quickly, and then the internal team there could go to work. They could get the interviews done. They could get people hired. And not only that, their cost per hire decreased by 15%. So we're hiring faster and we're hiring at a better rate, which is just fantastic. Maintaining flexibility. This shifts a little bit from the actual implementation and programmatic in action, but it's something that I think is really important because with programmatic, I think we need to maintain flexibility with any of our job board spend. It's not just if you're using programmatic. It's if you just have a recruitment spend right now where you're posting natively to Indeed, to ZipRecruiter, to any job board. And there's 4 reasons we're gonna look at here. We want to improve our reach. We want to make better performance decisions. We want to have a tactic and strategy we can call on with inconsistent job orders, and we want to set a true recruitment budget. As we've talked about, if you're manually posting jobs right now, we're going to limit that reach just because it's a physical chore to post the jobs on those specific boards. We're only reaching a subset of job seekers. Not every job seeker is coming to your postings on the 1 or 2 boards your jobs are appearing at. They're going all across the internet. They're going to numerous job boards and sites. We want to get your jobs to as many places as possible to your active and or passive job seekers. We could be missing out on thousands of job boards. Job boards pop up all the time. Websites pop up all the time that have job postings. I've really been looking at programmatic for about the last 9 or 10 months, and just to see the different job boards pop up and names I've never heard of, it seems like there's a new one every day or every week. We could be missing out on niche websites. How do I get my healthcare job on this nurse's website? Or how do I get my WordPress developer, my website developer job on this tech website? How do I get my accountant job on this specific website? We can create a publisher network to get your jobs out to those websites. And there's no guarantee, right? I've talked about this a couple minutes ago. Your candidates, the candidates you want, are going to the top job boards. Maybe they aren't actively looking for jobs, but they're passive job seekers and they're browsing other websites. How are your jobs appearing on those sites? Or maybe they have their own websites they're going to that you have never heard about. How can you get your jobs there? That's how we want to maintain flexibility. We don't want to lock ourselves into 1 or 2 jobs. Let's look at the math. Let's look at the math here with a couple of job boards. Job board A, we're spending $2,500 a month. We're getting great results. We want more candidates here, but we're locked into that contract. Job board B, $5,000 a month, poor results, bad results. What can we do here? What can we shift because we're stuck? We're stuck in 12 months contracts. It's very difficult to adjust because we're in a 12-month contract with job board B. We can't get out. We're spending $5,000 a month. Job board A, we have a 12-month contract. We want to increase it. Can we afford to increase it without decreasing job board B? Can we shift from the bad to the great? If we had flexibility, that would allow us to make changes. It doesn't have to be on a monthly basis. There's companies out there that, we've posted jobs for 2 weeks and they saw bad results. They want to pull their spend right away. Take control of your spend. Know that you can have control of that job board spend. Inconsistent orders. Let's say you normally have 100 jobs per month, $5,000 a month is your spend, but we're locked into a contract. We're locked into spending $50 a job for 12 months. Let's say next month though, or a couple months in November, you have a job order came in, seasonal hiring opportunity, we need 50 jobs. Can you add quickly to that $5,000 a month budget? Can you add quickly without committing to new 12 months? Right? Let's say we need to increase by $2,500. Are you going to be forced to sign a $7,500 month contract? Let's maintain that flexibility. But also, let's say all of a sudden in December, the plant shuts down. It's down to 25 jobs. How can we decrease our spend quickly? It's like when we go on vacation with groceries, right? We're not going to buy groceries if we're on vacation. So if we don't have the jobs, why should we spend on it? If we can drop it down to 25 jobs, if we're spending $5,000 a month on 25 jobs, we're wasting our money. What can we do to shift that spend down quickly? We had a question here come in from Joe. Joe wants to know the top 5 industrial job boards. And that's a good question. And I don't have the right answer for you because I think it's a little bit of dependent on your market. I think a variety of things change. I think the biggest names in the industry right now, if you watch TV or listen to the radio or listen to podcasts, Indeed and ZipRecruiter are just going to be the 2 on name recognition. And there's obviously other job boards that probably locally or, Career Builder, Monster, whatever. But I think what Programmatic can do for Joe and can do for other recruiters and staffing agencies is we can get your jobs to a lot of websites, to dozens, hundreds, thousands of different websites, to job boards. Then we let the data play out. We let the data show Joe, these are the top 5 boards that brought us the lowest cost per application. Then Joe looks at the quality of candidates and says, yeah, we really like the candidates from these boards. That's when we spend money with the boards that give us the lowest cost per application and the best quality. What can we do there? That's what I would do, Joe. Our last example here of maintaining flexibility with job board spends is setting a true recruitment budget. How have you set your recruitment budget? Was it a percentage of your revenue? Was it a number that felt right? Was it a number you've been, using for a number of years and are slowly increasing a couple percent per year? Was it a number you just pulled out of air? What are we doing to set that budget? And let's walk through an example here. Let's say we know it costs $50 to fill a job and we have a $5,000 budget. We know we have 100 jobs times $50. That gets us $5,000 budget. That's literally having the numbers tell us what we should get. But let's say the market changed. Let's say all of a sudden there's an influx of population in your area, or there's just more active candidates for whatever reason. And your cost per application, your cost per hire drops to $40. Can you decrease that budget quickly by $1,000? Right? We don't need to spend $5,000 anymore. We just need to spend $4,000 to get the same amount of hires. Can we decrease it by 20%? Or as we looked in that last slide with inconsistent job orders, let's say our job orders bump up by 50%. Can we quickly shift our budget to $7,500, right? We still know it's $50 for an application or for a hire, right? What can we do to get that 150 jobs, have that budget match the results that we need? That's where Programmatic helps us see the real market value, helps us set the true recruitment budget. I have a question here from Brian, and a lot of the comments coming in are talking about quality, and that's a challenge. His question was, if Programmatic can't gauge the quality without getting information back from my ATS, how is one applicant more expensive than the others? And that's a good question. The applicants are more expensive based on industry. They're going to be based on where your job appears on the job board. They're going to be what job board you appear on. The engagement of your ads, is it working well? If your ads are working well, the job boards are going to want to show them more because the visitors to that website are engaging and finding the content valuable. So it is a little bit of a challenge, and that's a big challenge in this industry right now is how can we use that quality component to make better decisions with Programmatic? And that's where if internally as a team, Brian, if you're able to use that data and say, you know what, job board A didn't get us the quality candidates we want. Job boards B and C, they gave us the quality of candidates we wanted. Let's put more money the next few months into those job boards because they give us the results we need. So it's kind of a marriage of using the programmatic software and that data with your internal data and then making even better decisions moving forward. I don't want to just sit here and bash and totally criticize the month-to-month and year-long contract, because job boards do prefer them, and some companies are going to prefer them. It might be easier for your management team, for your budgeting to say, you know what, we're going to have $3,000 a month for the next 12 months, and that makes, it puts us in our comfort zone, which is good and bad. But I wanted to raise this because you want to know that you have the flexibility to increase or decrease your spend based on future job orders or needs. And it doesn't have to be on the 12-month basis, right? Look at your contracts, talk to your reps, think about how you can make that best decisions possible. Talk to us at Haley Marketing Group, and we can recommend on how you can make those best decisions and provide yourself the best flexibility. There's a number of different companies out there that offer the software with programmatic. Haley Marketing is not one of them. What does Haley Marketing do here? Haley Marketing talks to these companies. We've been talking with them for months to figure out what's going to be the best recommendation for you, right? We want to partner with some of these companies to provide the best results. We're going to use Recruitix, Appcast, PandoLogic, Jovio, JobAdX. We're going to talk to our clients, talk to our prospects, and they're going to tell us their needs, their business goals. Then we're going to take a step back and say, hey, Recruitix is going to be the answer for you. Appcast is going to be the answer for you. Maybe you should look at JobAdX, PandoLogic, Jovio. Maybe it's a mix of them. What can they do? Right? JobAdX really focuses on real-time bidding and smarter programmatic. We've partnered with Recruitix to provide an analytics dashboard to get you some baseline data to make better decisions. Appcast is a software company that has an enormous network, right? One of its exchange program has 10,000 different websites. Your jobs are going to appear on that, and they really focus on cost per application. PandoLogic has the great taxonomy, really focuses on being programmatic with its distribution. And Jovio, its strong core is being transparent and joined forces with Ripple to kind of have this marriage of, agency side and technology side. So if you're interested in this, talk to us here at the Haley Marketing Group, and we're happy to work with you. We're happy to look at your recruitment budget, at your jobs, at your needs, and figure out the best solution. Which one of these different companies is right for you to work with? And then maybe your team can manage it internally, or maybe we can manage it here at the Haley Marketing Group. We want to find that right fit for you. And that kind of answers Austin's question here. He answered a question of which company you would recommend. And my recommendation would be to talk to us, to maybe do some demos with these companies. We're happy to do them with you and see which one the results are the best, and we'll go from there. So what now? How do we get started? As I just kind of promoted some of the different options in this industry. First thing I would do, get a benchmark of your current openings if you don't have it. Do you know how much the cost per application is for your open jobs? Do you know what it is on different sources? Do you know how much a cost per click should be for your open jobs? That's the data we need. That's the data we want to see. Where are your jobs appearing? How much is it for you to get a cost per application on Indeed? How much is your cost per click on Glassdoor? We want to get that information. If the data comes back and says, you know what, Matt, we know for these open jobs, we need to pay $12 an application. That's fantastic. So then we're going to go into programmatic and make better decisions to find ways to reach that goal of $12. Or maybe we want to decrease it by 30% to decrease it by $3.60. What can we do to get us below $9 an application for the same quality candidates? Let's optimize and make data-driven decisions. That's one of the key takeaways here today. What can we do? What can we do to make the best data-driven decisions? If you aren't bought into data, programmatic is going to be very hard for you to get behind and for your team to get behind. But data is going to help us make better decisions. It's going to help us not just shoot from the hip, not just to, trust our gut with what we've always done, right? Remember the slide earlier, we want to step out of that comfort zone into opportunity. We want to adjust our cost per click, our cost per application, set a right recruitment budget, find out where jobs should be. That's what we want to do, right? Get that benchmark data and then look at your budget, and are you comfortable with using all of it into programmatic right away, right? If you're spending $3,000 a month, do you want to just spend $3,000 a month on on programmatic right away and see how it works? Are you comfortable with 25%, with 50%, with 75%? What can you do to get those options? That's what we want to get that data. You look at you use a percentage of your budget, see if it works. And when it works, we're going to want to invest more of your budget into this tactic, into this technology. And that's where the Haley Marketing Group comes into play, is reach out to us, find out how we can help, partner with an Appcast, a Recruitix, those other companies, PandoLogic, Jovio, JobAdX, to find the right solution for you, because there's not going to be one straight answer. We want to talk to you about your business goals, about your recruitment spend, about your recruitment needs, your challenges. What can we do to help you reach those goals? We got one class question, but before I forget this, I want to talk about our product demo that's actually coming up next week. It's what's new with reputation management, and our internal reputation management expert, Magezi Mukandala, will be talking about the different features in this program. And this is one of the most cost-effective and awesome products that we have, because reputation management focuses on increasing your star rating across Facebook, Google, Glassdoor. What can we do to keep your negative reviews in a private setting? What can we do to drive more positive reviews? Because like I said earlier, the data shows Glassdoor companies with star reviews of 3 or higher on a company scale are getting 2% higher application rates than companies with a star rating below 3. Make sure to register for that. Oh, wrong way. The last question here is a budget question. What do I need to get involved? And there are some different options. There could be some options where you could just sponsor one-off jobs for a couple hundreds of dollars. I would say you need to have at least $1,000 a month to get into programmatic, probably more in that $2,000 range, but I don't want budget to be a hindrance, right? If you want to reach out to our team, we'll walk through some of those different options, and then we can find the right solution for you. I don't want to say no to anyone, because I think there are options for anyone in the programmatic world to receive value, to drive applications at a better cost, at a better rate, and make better data-driven decisions. No other questions are coming through here, so I want to thank everyone for attending this lunch with Haley on programmatic advertising, and we look forward to you joining us next time. Take care.